Hey, what is up, guys? It is Reed. I am 27, just an average dude. I've made tons of money mistakes in my 20s, and now I want to share everything I've learned to help you take control of your finances and your life. All right, so today we are talking about something that literally changed my life. And I know the title sounds a little clickbaity, but I promise you the math actually checks out. We are breaking down what happens when you invest just $500 a month starting in your 20s, and I am not talking about some fantasy scenario where you need to be making six figures or have some fancy degree from a top university. I am talking about real life, the kind of life most of us actually live. The kind of life I was living just a few years ago when I was broke spending money I didn't have and stressing about my credit card balance every single month. Here's the thing that most people don't understand. Building wealth is not about being smart or lucky or knowing the right people. It is about consistency and time. Two things literally anyone can take advantage of. But most people don't because they think they need a big lump sum to start, or they think investing is only for rich people. I used to think the exact same way. I remember being 22 years old looking at my bank account after payday and wondering where all my money went. I was eating out every single day, buying stuff I didn't need, and telling myself I would start saving next month. Next month never came. It took me hitting rock bottom financially to realize that if I didn't change something, I was going to be 40 years old, still broke, still stressed, still wondering why life was so hard. So let me break down the math for you in the simplest way possible. If you invest $500 a month, that is $125 a week. That is about $18 a day. That is less than what most people spend on takeout coffee and delivery apps combined. Over a year, that adds up to $6,000 total. Now, if you are making 60 or 70K a year and you are living within your means, that is completely doable. I don't care where you live or what your rent is. If you are willing to make some small sacrifices, you can find $500 a month. But here's the thing that I really want to emphasize. It is not about the exact number, it is about the habit. Maybe you cannot do 500 right now, and that is totally fine. Start with 200, then work your way up to 300, then 400, then 500. The goal is to build the muscle of investing consistently. When I first started during COVID in 2020, I was only putting in like 100 or maybe $200 a week. It felt small, it felt pointless, but I kept at it. And now I am investing over $30,000 a year. That did not happen overnight. It happened slowly over time as my income grew and as I got better at managing my money. Let me walk you through the actual numbers because I think seeing it visually makes everything click. We are going to use an 8% annual return, which is actually conservative. The SP 500 historically returns about 10% per year, but we are subtracting 2% for inflation to keep it realistic. So 8% is a fair number. Let us say you start with $0 in your account. Year one, you contribute $6,000 total. No growth yet because we are being conservative. By the end of year one, you have $6,000. Not impressive, right? But stick with me. Year two, you contribute another $6,000. Now you have put in $12,000 total, but because of that 8% growth on your first year, your portfolio is actually worth about $12,480. You made $480 without doing anything. That is the magic. Year five, you have contributed $30,000, but your portfolio is worth around $35,000. You are already ahead by $5,000. Year 10, you have put in $60,000, but your portfolio is around $87,000. Now we are talking year 20, you contributed $120,000, but your portfolio is over $275,000. You have more than doubled your money. Year 30, you put in $180,000, but your portfolio is worth $680,000, almost $500,000 in growth. And finally, year 40, you contributed $240,000 over your lifetime, and your portfolio is worth over $1.5 million. Let me say that again. You put in $240K, and you end up with $1.5 million. That is over $1 million in pure growth just from letting your money sit and work for you. Now here's where it gets really interesting, and this is the part that I wish someone had told me when I was 20 years old. The difference between starting at 25 versus starting at 35 is massive, like life-changing massive. If you start at 25 and invest for 40 years, you end up with $1.5 million. If you wait just 10 years and start at 35, you only get 30 years of growth, which puts you at around $680K. That is a difference of over $800,000 just because you waited a decade. And that is not even the craziest part. If you start at age 20 and invest for 45 years, you end up with around $2.3 million. Starting 5 years earlier than the 25-year-old gives you an extra $800,000. 5 years, that is insane when you think about it. And this is why I always tell people in their early 20s that time is literally their biggest asset. You cannot get time back. You cannot buy more of it. But if you use it wisely, compound interest will do the heavy lifting for you. I want to pause here and talk about compound interest because it is literally the eighth wonder of the world. Albert Einstein said that, not me, and the reason it is so powerful is simple. Your money makes money, and then that money makes more money, and then that money makes even more money. It is like rolling a snowball down a hill. At first, the snowball is tiny and you barely notice it moving, but as it rolls, it picks up more snow and gets bigger and bigger and faster until eventually it becomes this massive, unstoppable force. That is exactly what happens with your investments. The first few years feel slow and boring. You do not see much happening, but if you stay patient and keep contributing, that snowball keeps growing. By year 20, it is accelerating. By year 30, it is a monster. By year 40, you are a millionaire multiple times over. The hardest part is just being patient and not giving up when it feels like nothing is happening. All right, so now let me give you the actual steps to make this happen. Not theory, not generic advice. Real steps that I personally use to go from being in debt to building real wealth. Step 1. If you work for a company that offers a 401k with a match, you need to take advantage of that immediately. This is literally free money. Let me give you an example. Say you make 50k a year and your company matches 50% of your contributions up to 6%. So you contribute 6%, which is $3,000, and your company gives you an extra $1,500 for free. That is an instant 50% return on your money before you even invest a single dollar. If you leave that on the table, you are literally throwing away free money. I do not care how tight your budget is, find a way to contribute at least enough to get the full match. That is step 1, non-negotiable. Step 2, open a Roth IRA. I personally use M1 Finance because it is simple and easy to use, but there are plenty of options out there like Vanguard, Fidelity, or Schwab. The reason a Roth IRA is so powerful is because you contribute money that has already been taxed, and then when you withdraw it in retirement, you pay 0 taxes on the growth. If you are in your 20s right now, you are probably in a lower tax bracket than you will be later in life. So paying taxes now on a smaller amount makes way more sense than paying taxes later on, a much larger amount. The contribution limit for 2025 is $7,000 per year. That is about $583 a month, so your $500 a month fits perfectly inside that limit. Step 3, make sure your brokerage allows you to buy fractional shares. This was a game changer for me when I first started. A share of the SP 500 ETF VO costs like $500 or $600. When I was broke, I did not have $500 just sitting around to buy one share, but I did have $25. And with fractional shares, I could buy 0.05 shares at a time. Over time, those fractions add up. Before you know it, you own half a share, then a full share, then 5 shares, then 10 fractional shares. Remove the barrier to entry and make investing accessible to anyone with a few dollars. If your brokerage does not offer fractional shares in 2025, switch to one that does. That is ridiculous. Step 4. Automate everything. Do not rely on willpower. Willpower is unreliable. Set up an automatic transfer from your checking account to your investment account every single month. Treat it like a bill. A non-negotiable bill that you have to pay. I have mine set up to transfer money every Monday morning. I do not even think about it. It just happens automatically. And because it is automated, I never miss a week and I never talk myself out of investing because the money is already gone before I have a chance to spend it. Step 5. Avoid lifestyle inflation like your life depends on it because honestly, your financial future does depend on it. When I got my first real raise at work, I was so tempted to upgrade my apartment and buy a nicer car and start eating at fancier restaurants. I almost did. But then I remembered how it felt to be broke and stressed about money all the time, so instead I kept my lifestyle the same and invested the extra money. That one decision alone probably added hundreds of thousands of dollars to my net worth over time. And here's the thing, lifestyle inflation is sneaky. You get a raise and suddenly you feel like you deserve to spend more, and you do deserve to enjoy your money a little bit, but do not let the extra spending eat up your entire raise. Give yourself a small bump in your fund budget and invest the rest. Your future self will thank you. Step 6. Do not touch your investments. This is the hardest step for most people, including me, when the market drops 20 or 30%. It is terrifying. You see your portfolio go down and your brain screams at you to sell and save what is left. Do not listen to that voice. Market crashes are normal. They have happened many times before, and they will happen many times. Again, the 2008 crash was brutal. The COVID crash in 2020 was scary. But if you look at a long-term chart of the SP 500, those crashes look like tiny little blips. They barely show up because the market always recovers and goes higher. If you sell during a crash, you lock in your losses and miss out on the recovery. If you keep investing during a crash, you buy shares at a discount and set yourself up for massive gains when the market bounces back. This is called dollar cost averaging, and it is one of the most powerful tools in your investing toolkit. Now let me address some common challenges you might face because I know this is not easy and I do not want to pretend like it is. The first challenge is feeling like you do not make enough money to invest. I hear this all the time from people in their 20s, and I completely understand. Rent is expensive, groceries are expensive, life is expensive, but here's what I would tell you. Look at your bank statements from the last 3 months and find the leaks. The subscriptions you forgot about, the takeout you order when you are too tired to cook, the impulse purchases on Amazon, the drinks at the bar. I am not saying you have to cut all of that out. Life is meant to be enjoyed. But if you can find just $100 or $200 a month by cutting out the stuff you do not really need, that is a great starting point. And if you want to speed things up, pick up a side hustle. I did Uber Eats deliveries for a while. It sucked, but it gave me extra cash to invest. Even an extra $100 a week adds up to over $5,000 a year. That is real money. The second challenge is market volatility making you anxious. I get it. Nobody likes seeing their money go down, but here's what I want you to remember. You are investing for 30 or 40 years, not 30 or 40 days. Short-term volatility is just noise. It does not matter. What matters is that you stay consistent through the ups and the downs. The people who panic sell are the ones who lose money. The people who stay the course are the ones who build wealth. The third challenge is feeling like you started too late. If you are in your late 20s or your 30s right now and you have not started investing, do not beat yourself up. The best time to start was 10 years ago. The second best time is right now today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next month. Today. Open an account, set up a transfer, buy your first shares, future. You will be so glad you did. And the fourth challenge is not knowing where to invest your money. This one is actually the easiest to solve. Just buy an index fund that tracks the SP 500 VTI SPY, whatever ticker you want. They are all basically the same. When you buy an SP 500 index fund, you are buying shares in the 500 biggest and most successful companies in America. Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Nvidia. All of them, you are diversified across every major industry. You do not need to pick individual stocks or try to predict which company will be the next big thing. Just buy the whole market and let time do the rest. The SP 500 has never had a negative 20-year return in its entire history. Never. That should give you a lot of confidence. Let me share a quick personal story to bring this all together. When I was 22, I was broke, like negative net worth broke. I had credit card debt, I had no savings, I had no clue what I was doing with my life. I felt like a failure. I remember lying in bed at night, wondering if I was ever going to get my life together. And then one day I just decided enough was enough. I started reading about personal finance. I watched YouTube videos, I listened to podcasts, I opened a brokerage account and I started investing $50 a week. It felt so small, I almost felt embarrassed about it, but I kept going. I picked up a side hustle, I cut my expenses, I got a better job, I increased my contributions over time. And now at 27, I have a healthy portfolio, an emergency fund, and a plan for my future. I am not rich by any stretch of the imagination, but I am on the right track, and that is all that matters. The trajectory, not the current balance here, is the thing I want you to take away from this video. You do not need to be a genius to build wealth. You do not need a high income or a finance degree or insider knowledge. All you need is consistency, time, and patience. 3 things that are available to every single person watching this video. Start with what you have, even if it is $50 a month, even if it is $25 a month. Just start, build the habit, increase it over time, and let compound interest do what it does best. Imagine yourself at 60 years old with over $1 million in the bank. Imagine the freedom, imagine the options, imagine never having to stress about money again. That future is possible, but only if you start now, not next year, not when you get a raise, not when the market is better now. So here's my challenge to you. After this video ends, go open an account, even if you only put in 20 bucks. Just do it, and then comment down below and tell me how much you are investing every month. Right now, I genuinely want to know. Let us hold each other accountable. All right, that is all I have for you today. If you found this helpful, drop a like and subscribe. I will see you in the next one. Peace.